My family assumed my child-free life meant I was there on call babysitter. Hey Reddit, so I never thought I'd be the guy posting about family drama, but here we are. Let's just say being the nice, single, always available sibling comes with more strings than I realized. It started small, little favors, quick errands, and ended somewhere I didn't expect at all. I'm not here for pity, I just want to know if I did the right thing because honestly, I still can't tell if I went too far or finally did what needed to be done. Ryan, 33 male, single, and apparently the only person in my family who hasn't matured. That's my mom's favorite word, matured, as if buying a minivan automatically makes you spiritually evolved. I live in Portland, work from home as a freelance copywriter, and pay my bills on time. According to my family, that means I have nothing real going on. Every family gathering starts the same. Someone points at me, sitting in jeans and a t-shirt and says, "Must be nice, Ryan. You've got all that free time. No wife, no kids, no stress." And yeah, must be nice. I mean, who wouldn't want to juggle 5 clients, edit content until midnight, and pray the invoices get paid before rent's due? But sure, I'm living the dream. They've all decided my flexible schedule means I'm available 24/7 for family errands. My mom's Wi-Fi stops working? Call Ryan. My dad's car battery dies? Call Ryan. Need someone to watch the kids? You guessed it, Ryan. I'm like an on-call family handyman with no salary and unlimited patience. Truth is, I didn't hate it. I actually like being the cool uncle. The kids think I'm some kind of tech wizard because I can reset their TV. They run around yelling my name when I show up, which yeah, feels kind of nice. So hanging with them once in a while is harmless fun. And let's be real, helping out occasionally beats lending family money that never comes back. Helping is cheaper than, hey, can you spot me a few hundred until next week? Plus, working from home means I can shift my schedule. If I need to edit a brand's article at night so I can take my nephew to the park in the afternoon, no big deal. I've got balance figured out better than most of them. That alone drives my sister insane. Thing is, I didn't mind. At first, it made me feel useful. Everyone likes being needed. And being the easygoing single guy who can swoop in when chaos hits, it gave me a weird sense of pride. I figured I was keeping the peace. Family favors are part of the deal, right? Then came the jokes. Every time I said no, it turned into a group joke. Oh, look at Mr. Independent over here. Don't stress him, he's got emails to write. My Uncle Danny laughed so hard once he spilled beer on my shoes. If you had a wife, you'd understand, he said. I told him, if you had a backbone, you'd stop needing one. That shut him up for about 10 seconds. Still, I didn't take it seriously. I thought they just liked teasing. The truth is, they'd gotten comfortable seeing me as backup. The one person who'd always say yes. One Thursday afternoon, I was finishing up a product review for a client when my phone buzzed. It was Kelly. I almost didn't answer because her calls usually start with, "Are you busy?" and end with me regretting my life choices. "Hey, Rye," she said, voice sweet enough to trigger alarms. "Tiny favor. Here we go. I just need you to watch the kids for an hour. Just an hour, promise. I have to run a quick errand." "What kind of errand?" I asked. "Nothing major, just something I can't take them to." "Kelly, you remember the last time you said an hour? That turned into an hour, I swear. I'll even bring dinner, please." I glanced at my laptop. I'd finished most of the work anyway, and I hadn't seen the kids all week. Honestly, I liked hanging out with them. The little one, Max, thought I was some kind of superhero because I once fixed his remote control car with duct tape. "Fine," I said. "But 1 hour, not a minute more." She squealed like she'd won the lottery. "You're the best! Love you!" I hung up, shaking my head. I told myself it was fine. An hour away from the screen would probably do me good. I could use the break, get some fresh air, maybe order pizza for the kids. I didn't know it yet, but that single hour would start the avalanche. The more you give people like my family, the more they take. And once they decide your time is their backup plan, they don't ask. They schedule. Still, that day, I grabbed my keys, laughed to myself, and said out loud, "Let's go be the cool uncle." If I'd known how far they'd push it later, I would have locked my phone, muted every group chat, and gone off the grid. But no, I had to be the nice guy. The "you can count on me, brother." The freelancer with all the flexibility in the world. Turns out, flexibility looks a lot like servitude when your family has no boundaries. And this was just the warm-up. That 1 hour turned into a routine. Kelly started acting like my apartment had revolving doors. One day it was, "Can you grab them from school?" The next, "They'll just stay at your place till dinner." There wasn't a single question mark in her text anymore. Just demands, like she was updating an employee. The first few times, I didn't argue. I like my niece and nephew. They're funny, they listen, and they don't scream like banshees, most of the time. But after the 5th quick favor, I noticed my client messages stacking up. I was pushing deadlines, eating lunch at 4 p.m., and trying to edit ad copy while a 4-year-old asked me to help build a Lego castle every 3 minutes. It hit me one Tuesday when I missed a Zoom meeting. I was balancing Max on my knee while my laptop screen showed a blank box with my name. The client emailed later saying, "Let's reschedule. Please ensure you're available next time." I sat there staring at that line, feeling my patience flicker. That night, Kelly called. "Hey, tomorrow I have a dentist appointment, so..." I cut her off. "No," she paused. "No, what?" "No, I can't. I'm working." She laughed like I was joking. "You work from home, Rye?" "Exactly." The word work didn't vanish just because I'm not in traffic. She sighed dramatically. "You're being difficult." "No, I'm being employed." I hung up before she could throw in her guilt speech. That was the first time I'd ever told her no flat out. It felt weirdly good, but my phone started buzzing 5 minutes later. Mom, of course. Ryan, she started, tone full of fake concern. Your sister said you refused to help with the kids. She's overwhelmed, honey. You can't just abandon family. She's not abandoned, Mom. She's getting her teeth cleaned. That's not the point. You're single. You have time. I also have bills. Silence. Then the sigh, the famous mom sigh that's supposed to reset your guilt levels. I didn't respond. I just said, I'll call you later, and hung up. I didn't call later. The next week it escalated. Kelly showed up unannounced, kids in tow. I opened the door, mid-call, headset on, laptop in hand. She pushed past me like I wasn't even there. Don't worry, I'll just be gone an hour, she said. Kelly, I'm literally working right now. You can multitask, can't you? You're good at that. I took a deep breath and pointed toward the door. No, take them with you. Her smile froze. Are you serious? Completely. Wow, she said, shaking her head. You've really changed. Yeah, I said. I've started charging for labor. She scoffed, muttered something about ego, and left. That was the day I realized she didn't see me as her brother anymore. Just a free convenience. But the universe wasn't done testing me. 2 days later, Mom called while I was finalizing a client contract. Ryan, she said sweetly, since you're out anyway, could you stop by and pick up groceries for me? I'm not out, Mom. I'm at my desk like every weekday. Well, can't you go after? After what? After I finish paying my own rent? Her tone sharpened. You don't need to be rude. I just thought you'd want to help your mother. Helping is when someone asks. You're assigning. Ryan, Mom, no. Call delivery. I ended the call before the guilt trip reached its second act. By Friday, I'd drawn a hard line. My rule was simple. If it messes with work, it doesn't happen. Period. Of course, that didn't stop them from trying. My cousin texted, hey man, since you're home, can you drive me to the dealership? I replied, sure. Can you drive me to my deadlines? He left me on red. Every no came with some version of backlash. My sister called me selfish. My mom said I was pulling away from the family. My cousin sent a sad face emoji like we were in middle school. I didn't budge. I wasn't mean about it. Just factual. If they called asking for something, I said, no, I'm working. If they asked again, I repeated it. No debate, no apologies. Just steady repetition until they got tired. It took 2 weeks for them to notice I wasn't bending. The silence that followed was incredible. No calls, no surprise visits, no quick favors. My notifications went quiet for the first time in months. I finally got through a workday without being guilted into someone else's crisis. It was peaceful, for about 5 days. Then Mom called again. Honey, your sister's struggling. Maybe you could take the kids this weekend? Why? I asked. She and Josh need time together. Their marriage is under stress. I smirked. Yeah, and my contract deadlines are under stress. Ryan, Mom, if they need a break, they can pay for a babysitter. I'm not a relationship counselor. You're being heartless. No, I said. I'm being done. That ended the conversation. That night, as I sat on my couch, laptop open, I realized something big. They weren't asking for help. They were expecting obedience. There's a difference. They didn't want me to help. They wanted me to serve, and I just canceled my subscription to that role. For about a week, life was blissfully quiet. No phone calls, no can you swing by, no surprise door knocks. I was catching up on work, sleeping better, actually cooking breakfast like a normal human. For the first time in months, I felt like my schedule belonged to me again. Then one Monday morning, I was answering client emails when a notification popped up. Subject line, family support schedule, final draft. It was from Kelly. I froze mid-sip of coffee. Final draft? I hadn't seen a first one. Curiosity won. I clicked it. Up pops a color-coded Google Calendar that looked like a military operation. Every square was jammed with entries. Ryan babysits, Ryan grocery pickup, Ryan school run, Ryan weekend backup. It even had recurring reminders. Wednesdays 4 p.m., Ryan helps mom with errands. Saturdays 9 a.m., Ryan takes kids to park. There was one that actually said, Ryan available, flexible. My jaw tightened. It wasn't a shared plan. It was my entire week mapped out like I'd been hired full-time. They'd literally scheduled my life without asking. I scrolled through in disbelief. My name popped up more than anyone else's. Mom had 2 small errands, Kelly had 15 slots, my cousin had 3, and I had enough to qualify for overtime. I stared at it for a full minute before laughing out loud. I wasn't even angry, just amazed at the audacity. So I did what any sarcastic man with Wi-Fi would do. I took a clean screenshot of the calendar, opened the family group chat, and sent it with one line. Just confirming, should I clock in or is this volunteer work? It took exactly 40 seconds for the group to blow up. Mom replied first, oh Ryan, don't be dramatic. It's just for organization. Kelly jumped in right after. We all agreed to this. You're part of the family. We thought you'd want to help. I typed back, when did I agree? Must have missed the part where I signed the family employment contract. Mom fired another text. Ryan, stop turning everything into a fight. We're just trying to stay organized. You always say you like helping. Helping, I typed back, is when someone asks. Scheduling someone else's time is management. The typing bubbles danced for a minute. Then my cousin sent a laughing emoji and wrote, man, you sound like HR. Maybe you do need a wife. I replied with one more line. I'll get one when you stop needing your mom to book your errands. Silence. For a solid 5 minutes, the chat went dead. I closed my laptop, grinning. I knew exactly what they were doing. They'd turned their guilt into a group project. Instead of apologizing, they'd found a way to justify it. I could picture the conversation. Ryan's so lucky. He doesn't have kids. He can help. It's family. The difference was, I didn't need to fight anymore. They only had power when I reacted. That night, they tried round 2 in the group chat. My sister sent a long message about how everyone contributes differently, how she's doing her best as a mom, and how I should show some compassion. I didn't even bother replying. I just muted the chat. No yelling, no drama, just silence. That quiet was my weapon. Every time they expected a reaction, I gave them nothing. No energy wasted, no explanations, just peace. By Wednesday, the chat had turned into them, talking around me instead of to me. Random messages like, I'll take Friday instead, and I'll ask someone else then. I didn't respond once. Thursday, Mom sent a single text, we'll figure it out. Don't worry about it. Translation, we finally realized you're serious. I closed my phone and leaned back in my chair, smiling for real this time. It wasn't about proving a point anymore. It was about reclaiming time they'd quietly stolen. Every sure I'll help had added up until I was running 2 jobs. One paid, one emotional. Now that I'd quit the second one, they had to face the fact that I wasn't their backup anymore. And sitting there in silence, I realized something simple but powerful. If I stop reacting, they stop controlling. And that's exactly what I did. I stopped picking up every call. I stopped replying to every guilt text. I stopped explaining myself. I figured out that the more I explained, the more they twisted it into something to argue about. Silence, on the other hand, confused them. It wasn't what they were used to. So I worked. I focused. My days started looking normal again. Wake up, coffee, client edits, gym, dinner. Peaceful. I'd muted every family group chat, turned off message previews, and learned to enjoy not being reachable. But apparently, my silence wasn't convenient for everyone. Because one Thursday morning, my phone exploded with call after call from my sister Kelly. 5 missed calls in a row. Then, a text popped up in all caps. Ryan, please answer, it's an emergency! My heart dropped. I didn't even think. I hit call. She picked up immediately, sobbing so hard I could barely understand her. Ryan, it's Josh. He had a stroke. I'm going to the hospital. Please go get the kids. I don't know what to do. My stomach clenched. Wait, what? Where are the kids now? At home. I'm on my way to the ER. Just get there, please. Okay, I said, already grabbing my keys. I'm going. I didn't hesitate. Whatever issues we had, that didn't matter now. If my brother-in-law was in the hospital, I'd take care of the kids. That's what decent people do. The drive felt like an action movie. I was running red lights, replaying everything she said. Josh Stroke Hospital. I was mentally preparing myself to calm the kids down, maybe make calls, whatever needed to be done. I pulled up to their house 10 minutes later. The driveway was empty. The blinds were open. No ambulance, no chaos. Just quiet. The door wasn't even locked. I walked in, heart pounding, expecting crying kids or a mess. Instead, the TV was on, both kids sitting calmly on the couch, eating cereal. I blinked. Hey, where's your mom? My niece, 8 years old, turned around chewing. She said she's going to the nail salon. I froze. What? Yeah, she said, like it was nothing. Dad's at work. I stood there for a full 10 seconds, trying to process it. The hospital? The crying? The stroke? It was all fake. She'd lied about a medical emergency to dump her kids on me. My chest tightened. Not from panic this time, but from pure controlled fury. I took a breath and forced myself to calm down. None of this was the kids' fault. They were innocent. So I smiled, sat with them, and said, all right, change of plans. Uncle Ryan's gonna hang out for a bit. I called a local babysitter I'd used before for a friend's event. A professional, someone trustworthy. Hey, can you come over for a few hours? The parents will reimburse you when they're back. She agreed and showed up half an hour later. I gave her a quick rundown and left. When I got home, I was still angry, but in that calm, dangerous way. The kind where you don't yell, you plan. That same night after the fake stroke stunt, around 8 p.m., my phone rang again. Kelly, I answered, already knowing this wouldn't be pleasant. Ryan, what the hell? She yelled. You hired a babysitter? She charged me $80. 80! I leaned back in my chair. You're welcome. For what? For embarrassing me? For making sure your kids weren't left alone while you were getting your nails done? Her voice shot up an octave. Excuse me? You don't know what you're talking about. Oh, I do. Your daughter told me everything. Dad's at work, mom's at the salon. Sound familiar? There was silence, then a week. I just needed a break. Then say that, Kelly. Don't fake a stroke. She snapped, you're so judgmental. You wouldn't understand, you don't have kids. I laughed quietly. No, I don't. That's why I don't dump them on other people with fake emergencies. You think you're better than me? No, I said evenly. I just think I'm honest. She huffed. I can't believe you hired someone without asking. That woman charged me $80. Cheaper than a fake hospital visit, I said. You're unbelievable. I know. Don't call me next time. I hung up and muted her number. Not out of anger, just because I needed a week of peace. I dealt with enough drama to last a lifetime. The next morning, Mom called. Of course. Ryan, what happened with Kelly? She's saying you embarrassed her in front of her kids. Did she tell you which part? The part where she lied about her husband having a stroke? Or the part where I made sure her kids weren't left alone? Mom hesitated. She's just stressed, honey. Then she can be stressed somewhere else. She needs help. She needs boundaries. Ryan, Mom, if you fake a medical emergency to get free babysitting, you pay real prices. End of story. She went quiet. I could almost hear the gears turning in her head as she realized I wasn't budging. That night, I finally slept like a rock. No guilt, no buzzing phone, no fake emergencies, just peace. And when I looked back on that day, the lesson was crystal clear. You lie about a medical emergency to get free help, you pay real prices. And I meant that. After the nail salon incident, I went full radio silence. I didn't answer calls, didn't respond to messages, didn't even open the family group chat. For the first time in years, my phone was quiet. I could actually hear myself think. Work was good, life was good, and peace felt expensive, but worth every penny. Then, about 3 weeks later, I got a long text from my mom. It started with, "We all make mistakes," and ended with, "You're being cold, Ryan." Classic. The guilt sandwich, soft opening, manipulation filling, guilt for dessert. I didn't reply. I was done explaining. But that night, while reviewing a client's invoice template, an idea hit me. Clean, simple, effective. No yelling, no drama. Just math. So I opened my laptop and started typing. Subject line, family labor summary, for reference only. No emojis, no sarcasm. Just a neat, professional document, formatted like I was billing a client. I listed every single favor I could remember doing that year. Babysitting, tech support, grocery pickups, random errands, even listening to my mom complain about how ungrateful young people are. The breakdown looked something like this. Babysitting, 6 hours equals $150 tech support, 3 hours equals $75. Grocery runs, 4 hours equals $150, $100. Moving furniture, 5 hours equals $125. School pickups, 2 hours equals $50. House repairs, 3 hours equals $75. Listening to mom complain, priceless. At the bottom, I added one final line. If this were a business, total owed equals $2,480. Good thing family works for free. Then I CC'd everyone. Mom, Kelly, the cousins, even Josh, her husband. No explanation, no caption, no dramatic paragraph. Just the invoice. Sent 10 minutes later, my phone started lighting up like a Christmas tree. First text, Kelly. "You have got to be kidding me. What is this?" I ignored it. Then Mom. "Ryan, this is petty and disrespectful. Family doesn't keep score." Then the cousin chimed in with a classic, "Bro, you've officially lost it." I sat back, smiling. Every buzz felt like confirmation that I'd hit the nerve I wanted to hit. 30 minutes later, Kelly called. I let it ring out. Then she texted again, "You're unbelievable. Acting like a stranger. You're not family anymore if you think this way." I finally replied, "You can't guilt people who don't need anything from you." Read, no response. Then Mom tried again, calling 3 times in a row. I picked up on the 4th, mostly for entertainment. "Ryan," she said, already scolding, "you embarrassed your sister. She's in tears. Maybe she should have cried when she lied about her husband having a stroke. That was a misunderstanding." "No, Mom. A misunderstanding is when you grab the wrong milk at the store. This was a performance. You can't keep punishing people for being family." "I'm not punishing anyone," I said. "I'm just done being free labor. Money isn't everything." "Good," I said. "Then they shouldn't have a problem paying for babysitters instead of me." She gasped like I'd said something sacred. "You've changed." "Yeah," I said. "I started valuing my time." Then I hung up. No yelling, no swearing, just end call, peace restored. By that evening, the group chat had turned into a circus. My cousin posted a meme about charging your mom for love. Kelly sent a 3-paragraph rant about how I'd humiliated her. Mom replied with something emotional about how selfish the world has become. I didn't type a single word. I just watched the chaos and muted the chat again. Then came the surprise. An email from Josh, my brother-in-law. Subject: about what happened. I opened it expecting a lecture. Instead, it was short, polite, and surprisingly genuine. "Hey Ryan, I just wanted to say I'm sorry for what Kelly did. I didn't know about the fake hospital thing until later. She went too far. I get why you're upset. If it helps, I'm willing to cover whatever you think is fair. Let's just call it even and move on." I actually laughed out loud. Josh, of all people, trying to be the diplomat. I respected that, but I wasn't interested in money. So I replied, "Hey Josh, appreciate it. You don't owe me anything. I just want to be left alone and treated like family, not a service. That's all." He wrote back, "Fair enough. For what it's worth, I agree with you." That last line stuck with me. Maybe he finally saw it. Maybe living with Kelly was its own unpaid internship. Later that night, Dad texted. Now, Dad never picks sides. He's the quiet observer who stays out of drama. His message was just one line. Not gonna lie, that was legendary. I smiled at my phone. That meant more than anything else that day. The next morning, I checked my email. No responses, no apologies, no fake emergencies, just silence. The kind of silence that comes after people realize they've been called out publicly and can't twist it anymore. I didn't feel guilty. I didn't feel petty. I felt clear. That invoice wasn't about collecting money. It was about collecting respect. They'd spent years thinking my time was disposable because I didn't have kids or a mortgage, that I existed in their world as an extra pair of hands. They forgot that my time had value, even if it wasn't filled with diapers and school pickups. For once, they couldn't spin it. You can't argue with numbers. And deep down, I think they knew it. When people lose control of you, they always call it betrayal. But really, it's just you finally setting a price on your peace. And that peace? Worth every penny. For the first time in months, everything was quiet. No texts, no fake emergencies, no guilt trips. My inbox was calm, my projects were lined up, and my evenings were mine again. I could finally sit on my couch without expecting a knock on the door or a crying call from my sister. But of course, peace never lasts when entitlement runs in the family. It was a Friday night, pouring rain outside, the kind that makes you want to do nothing but sit by the window and listen to it. I had my laptop open, finishing some edits for a client. When I heard it, a knock at the door. 3 short knocks. At first, I thought it was a delivery, maybe a package left in the rain. I opened the door and froze. Standing there, completely soaked from head to toe, was my 4-year-old nephew. He was holding a tiny Spider-Man backpack and a stuffed toy under his arm. His shoes squished when he stepped forward. "Hey, buddy," I said slowly, kneeling down. "Where's your mom?" He sniffled. "She said to come here. It's raining." My heart dropped. I pulled him inside, shut the door, grabbed a towel, and wrapped him up. His little hands were freezing. He wasn't crying, just confused. "Did Mom drop you off?" I asked, drying his hair. He nodded. "She said you'd take care of me tonight. She had to go." "Go where?" He shrugged. "I don't know." I felt my stomach twist. This wasn't a misunderstanding. She'd actually left her kid in the rain and driven off. I checked my phone. No calls, no texts, nothing. I got him into one of my old shirts that fit like a blanket and made him hot chocolate. While he sat on the couch watching cartoons, I called Kelly. She picked up on the 3rd ring, sounding annoyed. "What?" she said, like I was interrupting something. "You left your kid on my porch in the rain." She sighed, like I was overreacting. "Relax, Ryan. He loves you. You're good with him. Where are you? I just needed a break, okay? You'll survive one night. It's not like you have anything going on." I took a deep breath, trying not to lose it. "You left a 4-year-old outside, alone, in the rain." "Oh my God, stop being dramatic. He's with you now. It's fine." "No," I said, my voice going flat. "It's not fine. Come pick him up right now. Ryan, Kelly, if you don't come in the next 15 minutes, I'm calling someone who will." She went quiet for a second, then snapped, "You wouldn't dare. Watch me." And she hung up. I looked at my nephew, sitting there with his hot chocolate, watching cartoons like nothing was wrong. I didn't want to scare him, so I smiled and said, "Hey buddy, you're doing great. We're gonna make sure everything's okay, all right?" He nodded. "Okay." I grabbed my phone and took a few pictures. The soaked clothes by the door, his backpack dripping on the floor, the time, the weather. I knew my sister. She'd twist the story if I didn't have proof. Then I called CPS. I explained everything, how she dropped her son off in the rain, no notice, no call, and refused to come get him. The woman on the line was calm, professional, but firm. "That qualifies as abandonment, sir. We'll send someone right away to check on the child and then contact the mother." Within half an hour, a social worker and a police officer showed up. They talked to me, checked the boy, asked a few questions. I told them I wasn't trying to ruin my sister's life. I just wanted someone to make sure she understood how serious this was. The officer nodded. "You did the right thing. Leaving a child unattended like that is dangerous. You'd be surprised how often we see this." They told me the boy would stay with me for the night since he was calm, fed, and comfortable, and that they'd follow up with Kelly first thing in the morning. I agreed. No problem. I wasn't about to let him feel like he'd done something wrong. After they left, CPS contacted Kelly. I didn't hear the call, but I could imagine the meltdown. Sure enough, about an hour later, my phone buzzed with a text from her. "How could you do this to family?" I stared at the screen for a long moment, then typed back, "You did it to yourself." "Family doesn't mean free babysitting." She didn't reply. The next day, my mom called, her voice trembling. "Ryan, why would you call CPS on your own sister?" "Because she left her kid in the rain, Mom. She said it wasn't that bad. She also said her husband had a stroke so she could go to the nail salon, remember? She's just overwhelmed. Then she needs therapy, not a scapegoat. You could have handled it privately." I tried. She hung up. What else was I supposed to do? Wait until something worse happened? Mom went silent. Then she said softly, "They're coming to talk to her today." Good. Maybe someone will finally get through to her. That night after CPS left, I found out from a mutual cousin that CPS had officially opened a file. Kelly had to meet with a social worker and attend a parenting class. Apparently, she lost her mind, crying about betrayal and ruined reputations. I didn't celebrate. I didn't post anything. I just sat on my couch, staring at the rain hitting the window, thinking how wild it was that it had come to this. I'd drawn every boundary, said no 100 times, and still, she pushed until there were consequences. When people like her lose control, they don't self-reflect. They retaliate. But this time, she couldn't twist it. The facts were too solid. The photos, the timestamp, the CPS report, it all spoke for itself. And deep down, I knew this wasn't about revenge. It was about self-respect, about proving once and for all that family doesn't mean you get to abuse someone's kindness. That night, as I cleaned up the couch where my nephew had fallen asleep earlier, I realized something. People who don't respect boundaries eventually get introduced to consequences. The next few days after the CPS call felt strange. Quiet, but heavy. No texts, no missed calls, No family group chat pings. Just silence. It was the kind that doesn't feel peaceful right away. More like the air after a thunderstorm. Everything calm, but you can still smell the damage. Then, one morning, I got a call from a number I hadn't seen in months. Dad. He usually stays out of all the drama, the don't get me involved type. I answered anyway. He didn't waste time with small talk. I heard about what happened, he said, his voice calm even. Yeah, I replied. I figured you would. There was a pause. Then he said it. 5 words that hit harder than any argument my family ever threw at me. She needed that. I didn't say anything at first. I just leaned back in my chair, waiting for him to continue. She's been reckless for a while, Ryan. You didn't do it to be cruel. You did it because no one else would stop her. I've told your mother she's been babying your sister too long. Maybe this will wake her up. Maybe, I said quietly. You did the right thing, he added. I sighed. I didn't want to hurt her, Dad. I just wanted her to act like an adult. He chuckled lightly. Sometimes that takes a hard shove. Actions have consequences. Don't feel guilty for reminding people of that. That line stuck with me. Actions have consequences. It wasn't about revenge or pride. It was about finally holding people accountable. After that, Dad and I started talking more often. Not long conversations, just little check-ins. It was weirdly nice. He never picked sides publicly, but I could tell he respected me for standing firm. Meanwhile, Kelly went completely silent. No messages, no posts, nothing. I heard bits and pieces from relatives. She was working on herself, dealing with stress, and focusing on being a better mom. Translation, damage control. I didn't chase updates, I stayed out of it. I wasn't interested in gossip, I just wanted peace. Months passed, work stayed steady, my phone stayed quiet, and my evenings stayed mine. No one showed up asking for favors. No guilt trips disguised as help. It was like the entire family had collectively learned I wasn't a soft target anymore. Then one Saturday afternoon, I got a call from an unknown number. I almost didn't answer, but something told me to. Hey Ryan, a voice said. It's Josh, my brother-in-law. That caught me off guard. Hey, I said cautiously. What's up? He let out a slow breath. I just wanted to say thank you. I frowned. For what? For what you did, he said. Kelly's been in therapy for a few weeks now. She's actually different. She's calmer, more patient. She's been trying to fix things with everyone. It's not perfect, but it's a start. I leaned back, not sure how to feel. Glad to hear it, I said finally. He laughed a little. I know it sounds weird, but calling CPS, it shocked her. She needed that scare. No one ever calls her out. Everyone just lets her do whatever she wants. Yeah, I said, half smiling. That's how she got here. He paused. Look, I'm not saying it was easy for her, but I think you made her see she can't treat people like backup plans. I just wanted you to know it made a difference. I didn't know how to respond to that. That's good, I said finally. I hope she keeps going. She will, he said confidently. And honestly, man, I respect you. Most people would have just exploded or disappeared. You handled it like an adult. I chuckled. I guess being the calm one has its perks. He laughed too. Yeah, well, keep doing what you're doing. I'll see you around, man. When the call ended, I sat there for a while, staring at the ceiling. It felt surreal. For years, I'd been the family's emergency contact for everything, from fixing Wi-Fi to raising kids that weren't mine. And now I was finally just Ryan, the brother, the uncle, not the backup plan. Over time, things fell back into place. Mom eventually called, not to lecture, but to talk. Normal stuff, weather, work, groceries. For once, it felt like a real conversation, not a guilt delivery service. She even admitted she might have been a little unfair about some things. That was her version of an apology, and honestly, I took it. Kelly never reached out directly, but she sent a message through Dad a few months later. Tell Ryan I'm sorry. I know I went too far. I'm not bitter. I don't hold grudges. But I don't forget either. Because forgetting is how you end up in the same spot again, letting people cross lines you never meant to erase. The truth is, setting boundaries doesn't ruin families. It exposes which ones were built on respect and which ones were built on convenience. Some nights, I'll think about everything that happened. The fake emergencies, the guilt, the rain, the silence that came after. And I wonder how many people live like that. Doing favors out of fear, letting their peace get drained in the name of family. So let me ask you something. Was I wrong? Because sometimes I think about it. I replay the moment I picked up my nephew, soaked and shivering, and I ask myself if maybe I went too far. Then I remember the lie, the manipulation, the endless taking, and I know I didn't. I just stopped enabling it. But what do you think? If you were in my place, if your sister left her kid on your doorstep in the rain after years of using you, would you have done the same? Because I'm not sure where the line is anymore. All I know is this. I drew mine, finally. And for once, nobody's crossing it. Setting boundaries doesn't ruin families. It just shows who respects them.